Good evening, players of Koefdam. Now, I apologize for the multiple technical errors we have experienced. I do hope that from now on things will work much more supple. To begin, I wish to thank all players for attending the conference tonight. Considering the current COVID-19, a lot of players are struggling to get online. Some people are currently volunteering for multiple health services around the world, which we thank them a lot for. Now, as you may know, we are here to address the sudden changes Koefdam is going to face, focusing the server more on in-game RP instead of the use of creative. We have also started the new department of trade, also known as a board of trade. They will be fully in charge of making sure our economy will be safe and stable as it used to be. To begin with the conference, I wish to announce that we are going to have 4 major updates in the upcoming months. As of now, the RP is only set in the urban area of the outskirts. That is the size of half a map, for your information. We believe that we are to grow slowly and securely in order to make sure that players will be able to do proximity trading and to ensure that the streets will remain active. To begin, I want to start with the farmers updates. This will be released once we have 450 Discord players. We're going to open up an entire map, scaled 3 out of 4. In this map, we will introduce new economies, such as farming, and we're also going to open up new areas of place, also roleplay activity areas. These activity areas are places where criminals can commit crimes. Well, can, of course. They are able to commit crimes, and they'll be able to address more experience and more interactions, such as the shootout at Route 69, which will be opened when the update is released. And hot pursuits will also be allowed on this area known as Route 69. Moving on with the updates, we're going to release the Metropolis updates. This update will come after the Farmer updates and will be reached and opened when we have reached 550 Discord players. The Metropolis updates will allow the entire city of Koefdam to be opened, that is approximately 4 maps, scaled 3 out of 4. And it will release new services such as the stock markets and other major financial services, banking services, insurance services, and many other tertiary jobs. It will also release new RP action areas such as the bank heist, hostage situations, and much more. Moving on to the Metropolis updates, we have the travel updates. The travel updates will allow all 25 maps of Koefdam to be opened. All players will be allowed to travel through all these maps. Air travel and train travel will also be released. Additionally, all the highways will be opened. There will be no restrictions to where anyone may go. However, this will only be done if the players are able to respect other members and if we are able to grow in a steady way. We don't want to see any sort of retaliation or any sort of anger towards our staff members as we have seen previously. Finally, we will introduce the nations updates. This will see great change in the politics of the server. We're going to allow all nations to get independence, and the United Nations will be set up. These nations can form their own governments, their own elections, and can partake in wars and other diplomatic actions. It is the final update we will be releasing in the next months. After that, our staff will think of new updates. But as of now, these are the 4 updates we can release to the public. Further on, I wish to hand over the word to our Vice Executive of the Board of Trade, Mr. Commander Dis.
Okay, thank you. Shoo. Out of my spot. Shoo.
Of course.
Thank you. In a polite way as possible. Okay. So hello everyone. You could move. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. All right. Hello everyone. I'm Commander Diz, the Vice Chairman of the Board, not Vice Executive. Don't know why I said that. I apologize, but the Chairman could not take part in this conference today. To begin, I wish to inform you that the Board of Trade has enacted the law of Article 75. Some of these laws are of great importance, which were introduced to the public on Tuesday. There will be major changes on how properties will be taxed and how they are built. It's similar with some minor changes to the old system. Since the economy is facing times of uncertainty, our department has been tasked to stabilise the economy. Furthermore, the Board of Trade has been granted permission by Jovibic to enter any region on the server in order to search for any property in order to create a transparent and fair economy. In addition, the bot task force do not need to present a warrant or need you present to enter, and have the right to enter forcefully if resistance is met. If found to be committing any crimes and you are present, they can detain you and will place you in our facility to gather information. Tomorrow, I will be releasing a document with all the laws that are introduced by the Department of Trade. Members will also be able to visit our website, www.koefdam.com, see the prices of the goods and how to purchase these goods. However, the current worth won't be uploaded to the website until either Saturday or Sunday. We are not discouraging members of the public to stop their production of items and sale. However, there will be a third-party seller's permit system put in place from Monday onwards. Furthermore, the Board of Trade's new members are Toxic, aka Liam, and for our construction department, the host, to my right, Jovibic, will be assisting us. We saw many applicants which were very close, but some answers put us off from hiring, for now on hiring them. The members of the bot task force will be contacted in private about their role. If you do not receive a message, your application was denied. The Board of Trade wants to repeat that we are not here to bully or oppress any members and push anyone into submission. That is not our objective. We are solely doing what needs to be done to fix the economy. The Board of Trade is here to help, not destroy, if that wasn't clear. These laws are not permanent, and we are not permanently in charge. But we do not currently have an expiry date when we will no longer be in charge. We are here till it is deemed by Jovibic and is clearly shown that the economy has stabilised and is fixed. If you need to get materials or create a permit, contact me or EXO to get an appointment and we will give you a time and an employee to speak to on that day. Please be advised that the times we will give you is in British Standard Time, BST, or also known as GMT. Like everyone here on the stage will take questions at the end, and I will now hand it over to Funky if he was here. So I will give it back to Joe then.
Thank you very much. Yes, unfortunately, our chief moderator, Mr. Funky Panda, was not able to attend the conference due to connection issues. However, he has said that he will be releasing new updates for the moderator department. And he has also mentioned that from now on, there will be much stricter and much more vigilance on players. We have seen a recent rise in swearing on the Discord channel, which we do not approve by any means. Additionally, the moderator department will be working closely together with the Board of Trade to ensure that players will not be uncreative when they are not authorized to do so. I believe Mr. Funky Panda will release further details about his department tomorrow. From now on, we will be taking any questions from the press department. Please ensure you have the account Koefdam_com unmuted and the account Koefdam unmuted for questions.
I have a question. Bunzi Games from E-News.
Yes, what is your question?
Well, this is to the Board of Trade. What do you think is going to happen after this news has gone out for everybody who's wanting to build and has not got any information? Will you be afraid of any riots maybe, or people getting very mad at your organisation?
Please could you repeat the statement?
When, because people may not be looking or watching this, and then people are wanting to build in the near future, and then what happens after that is they have a look and then they go to you and you say that you can't build without a permit. Don't you think that people will make, I don't know, riots or conferences of things and get angry about this? Aren't you scared for the near future of people?
Now, on that point of the permits, we are not here to just deprive you of what you enjoy. I know a lot of people that are active on the server do enjoy building. We are not here to deprive you. We're not here to remove any form of privilege. All we're doing is currently sorting out the situation. For those people that are currently building projects, we will obviously discuss with you about your permit. If you've already made a pre-existing permit, we might be in agreement. This is still under consideration, but we might agree to give you a pass on the permit for a reduced price to a probably 10% of the general price of how much it would generally cost, since the fact you've already paid for a permit. This is still under consideration and is not final. And on the response of the riots and such, we are not encouraging anyone about the situation. We are trying our best to sort the situation out as we can. The riot situation is of a extreme importance that we don't have this happen. We are not here to make issues. The riots will be dealt as it needs to be dealt. If there is punishments that need to be handed out for the riots, there will. We are not discouraging people from protesting or anything. You have the right to speak how you want to speak. But we are discouraging you from committing any form of crime, like unregistered riots and so on and so forth. If you're going to protest, by all means protest, but please peacefully protest. We don't want people getting in trouble for no utter reason. Thank you.
Okay, and I've got another one from Frenzy here from eNews. This is towards the owner of the server, Joe.
Yes, of course.
What do you think people will be talking about this new update? Do you have an estimate of when we will maybe hit, 450 members all the way up to 1,000 members? Do you maybe have an estimate? And another thing is, do you think people are going to be, do you think people are going to be RPing properly, actually taking part, actually doing things that these rules have been put into? Because at this moment, we've not had that many people role-playing, but we've only had people maybe wanting to build in different nations and only doing them things. What do you say about that?
That is a great question, and I want to remind all players that we are here for every single person. Now, I need to emphasize that we are an RP server. We are not a building server by any means. Of course, we allow players to build, and we allow Koefdam to grow. Now, the second question asking how many players will be able to join it. First of all, we expect the updates to be released as soon as possible, of course. We think that our Discord will reach 450 players by the end of April. At least that is the goal we have set for our marketing department. Is there any other question?
eNews.
Yes.
How can you ensure that you're going to get 450 members?
Our marketing department is very dedicated, and we have the right resources and the budget to ensure that our departments will reach the goals they have been provided with. Any other questions?
Nova, Command News, anyone?
Is eNews allowed to speak one more question, or is that it?
3 questions. Can you?
Yes,
you
I
might
believe
wanna
Command
imagine the
News
source.
has the right to ask one more question.
No, eNews. Command News hasn't spoke yet.
Correction, eNews. eNews, please ask your question.
Hello. Enos from Frenzy Games. What are you going to say about people wanting? What are you going to talk to the people that are new in this server about these changes that have just happened? Because people may be like, "Oh, what has happened here?" or something like that, and it could be a mess because of what has happened in these recent updates. What do you say to that?
Who are you directing this question to? Is my first question.
Both of you.
Oh,
I guess
wanna
I will
go
take the
first?
word for this question, as it is a joining related question, which should go to me. It's a great question, yes. For all the new players who are out there and who want to join Koefdam or who are thinking about joining Koefdam, we have simply made the RP much better and much more realistic, which we have always strived to be. However, the previous months, with my absence and very poor leading, the server has been a bit in an anarchy, leading to excessive creative use and multiple occasions of fail RP. I am simply here to ensure that the laws are being followed and that the players get the RP experience they have asked for when joining.
okay. I'm just gonna make a comment on that. So, in the wise of that, due to the fact of the fail roleplay and stuff that he's just mentioned, that is why the creative permits is so key right now. The creative permits are here to basically take away that ability to abuse that position. That is why very limited groups are going to be accessing the creative power. And other than the mod team and the Board of Trade, no one else will be having access to unlimited creative roles. The mod team will have the creative role due to the fact that they are the mod team. They need it during sessions. The mod team are being reorganized, and I believe you're having an input, aren't you, on the mod team, Joe?
I am indeed. I am closely talking to the chief moderator as we speak, and we are ensuring that the moderator department will be able to enforce all these rules much more effectively as they used to.
Okay. And with the fact of the creative permit relating to your creative input, the creative permit is there because people are overusing it and causing failed roleplay. That is why due to the fact that the restrictions that have been now added to the server, it's more important that we don't let as much creative activity happen due to the fact that otherwise this area of access will be overrun, should I say. People will be building so much that there will be no. Now, we're not saying to the people that already got building projects going on, oh no, you can't build now. No, we're saying that you can build, but you obviously have to pay some fee, but it'll be reduced to what? Dependent on whether you have had a creative permit before or haven't. If you've had a creative permit before for a current project you're building, and it's been like before today, and you had it up till today, then that's when your creative permit will be discounted. If it was ages ago, you will be the same as people that are wanting creative permits now that are new. And on the and that's really all I've got to say about that, because everything else was to do with Joe. Okay.
Alright, if the Commands News has any questions now, I believe E-News has had their fair round of questions.
Speak on Discord as well. Hello? Well, how may I help you? Yes, you.
Can Commands News please repeat their question?
No, it's Harold's turn.
With this new update, they have angered the Americans as they will lose their ownership of their country and all the builds that they have created. They've been loyal both to Koefdam as a server and the USA as a country. Don't you think it's a bit unfair to strip away what they rightfully own?
We
Who is this
understand
directed
that for some players, I believe it is directed to me as the owner of Koefdam, as we have taken the country temporarily. We understand that some players may be angered that we have disabled the use of nations as of now, but as we saw it, there was no point having nations if there are no players. Therefore, in order to have a nation, you should have a population, something the United States did not really have. It's even defined in the United Nations that in order to have a country, you must have a permanent population, something almost every nation in this server failed of. Therefore, we want to ensure that we first have people to open a nation.
Okay. Another question. No. Well. What you said. We do population. It's even more active, or it used to be more active than the population of the Netherlands. So I think what you said is false. And another question, follow-up question. Will we play what we previously owned when the update comes?
That's a very good question, yes. We'll be very simple with that. With the most recent map we had of June 2019, we will give all the lands to the people who already had claims in those areas. To the areas that have been unclaimed, they'll be issued to the Board of Trade, who can then be able to sell the lands to any players willing to become a nation leader. Now, we're going to have to wait, unfortunately, until we release the Nations Update. However, when the Nations Update is released, all the old nation leaders who used to have lands in certain areas will have their lands back as it was during June 2019 under the official UNK map.
June 2019. Is there any more recent maps?
So maybe please repeat that question.
Aren't there any maps than June 2019? I mean, it's almost like 1 year ago.
Unfortunately, the United Nations of Koefdam only a map once every 6 months. This means that, unfortunately, as the last map was in July, the new map was supposed to be made in December, but during the absence of me and the UNK, there have been no more maps since June 2019. Therefore, we are not able to correctly identify who owns what in the past months. Therefore, we are not able to...
Okay, fair enough, that was all.
Okay, Command News then. You speak on Discord as well. Okay. Okay. Why is it directed? Oh. Okay.
That is not an issue. To that question, for that player, we understand that in Minecraft as a general game, it is the main goal to build. However, just as it is in GTA or Grand Theft Auto 5, it is the main goal to be a criminal. Some players do role plays involving police. As you can see, we do not have to follow the rules of a game. Minecraft is a sandbox game, allowing us to do anything we want. We at Koefdam are an RP server, not a building server. Therefore, we are to emphasize roleplays instead of building. Now, I understand that you think it may be cruel to give an organization control over the entire system. However, we believe that a centralized government is the best way of controlling a server in order to make sure that communication is fast and swift. Now, yes, it is true that the Board of Trade will be in charge of controlling creative permissions, but we want to avoid unfair building. Therefore, we have this department who will be ensuring that all buildings which are going to build in Koefdam as of now are of a decent standard, as we do not want to end up in some kind of, some dirt houses. We want high standard buildings, of course, for a high standard server. Any other questions? I'd like to
Now-
answer that first before the Board of Trade, if I could possibly.
The ETO thing, yes, fine.
All right, thank you. Okay, yes, good question. Now, the Board of Trade will be explaining how the creative licenses work. Mr. Commander Diz will answer that in a minute. I just want to say that, yes, we need an organization to control this, to repeat that. And yes, builders and nation leaders will still be allowed to build in their nation. And they will hopefully have the time to finish their nation if necessary. I believe Mr. Quantis can answer how they may apply for creative permits and how it will all function.
Okay, so I did explain this in my speech, but on a basic note, basically all you have to do is contact me or Xsoft Gamer in Discord DMs or PS4 DMs. You can say to us, hello, I'm such and such, and this is the time that I'm available to sort out my creative permit. In the same time when you're doing the creative permit, if you do not want to go into creative and still build, there is that opportunity to still apply for the materials. We will have a separate document eventually. And currently, the creative permit is the best option right now. But yes, for the nation leaders, even though currently there is no nations, you still have to go through us currently to apply. Of which you would need to go to, you would have to apply to us, and we will then give you an employee that you'd speak to. They will write down your document, as the documents are going to be kept within the Board of Trade to prevent any scamming, cheating, and so on and such from the minority of the population. Now, on that point with the creative rules, we are not doing this to basically stop building. We're doing this so that in coordination with the updates, it's so that there is a steady length of builds and steady length of the standards of builds. So for the people that are building right now that are of like good stature, or if you're already planning on building, you're pretty much safe. And for those that are building and they're just wanting to build because they can, there will be charges in place for the materials and for the permits. So if you have the money to afford the building, because the permits, depending on the size of the building, which you'll have to give us that information, will depend on how much your permit costs. And if you are going over the limit of your building permit, so if you've built bigger than you said you would, or you used more blocks than you got the materials provided for you, then there will be consequences under the line of fines, and depending on if you're cooperating with us, there can be some actual court-based punishments. I hope that answers some future questions and that question.
Final question from Commands News. Of course, the public is typing like mad, I can imagine.
Okay.
That's a great question. That is a
Okay.
great question indeed.
So
I believe Mr. Commander can explain that as Board of Trade.
you just had to get involved in that conversation, didn't you? Okay. So on the point of the stupidity of going creative and stuff, we are not just going to be using creative. It's just a limited flow so that it's more realistic. But we are going to be offering people if there is third-party sellers that have earned their way in survival and such to get blocks, we will buy blocks off them. And for third-party companies that are like a massive mining operation, or they build weaponry, which on the point of weaponry, only the Board of Trade can sell to the public. Companies that build weapons may contact us and arrange for a flow of products. If the product is popular, we will pay you a regular float, and so on and so forth. That sort of idea. But on the wise of the building blocks, we are the board of trade. We obviously have to get the blocks somewhere. When the server becomes bigger, we will avoid using creative. It is so that the mass population doesn't overexplode with the bricks and using massive buildings and such. Because currently the economy is so affected by this that the economy right now, so say somebody's got 1 million Koefdam, back when it was actually worth something, that could be worth maybe 200,000 Koefdam. That's how bad the economy's got to. That is why we have had to come in and sort the situation out. That is why we will be, in the months, dealing with the nations and such. We are only doing this to fix the economy. Once the server becomes more fluent, we will be offering the companies and third-party sellers that do mining and so on and so forth to do it. But there are certain blocks that can only be got in creative. That's why we are doing it, so that there is not the abuse of power. We are only going to be getting a select amount in. Hence why the system of getting and on to the next question about the blocks and how to pay. So the blocks and payment, that the way it will work is, when the person that's filling out your creative permit, if you are going for a creative permit, you will fill out how many blocks are needed and so on and so forth. After that, whether we've denied or approved your claim, we will then tell you a bill and send you the information of how much you are currently in pay, and we'll give you like a receipt payment. And then in the transactions, that's why also, as of today, which I did forget to mention, any in-game currency that you currently have will need to be brought in by a certain date that will be still to be discussed and announced, so that the transactions may only occur online on the Koefdam website, so we can monitor how much people really have. If you don't get in by that certain date, the money will become invalid and will be unregisterable after that date. Did I miss any questions, Command News?
I also like to add to that, all the money that the Board of Trade and the tax services receive, it is all invested into our staff, our moderators, our supervisors, our technical, our marketing. It is all put back into the server to help improve our service. None of this money is used for private reasons. Sorry.
Okay. Command News, did I miss any questions, or is any of my questions / answers unclear? Okay, so with the rise of building investigators, which we are currently only got Mr. Jovic over here, building investigators during and after builds will investigate your building whilst in production to then check the diameters and such. So if you want to become a building investigator, you need to be good at maths to save yourself having to count forever, going 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, 4 block. You need to be good at maths to work out areas and such. But on the point of like how the creative permit will work, the only time the creative permit will be active is if a Board of Trade member is present. Currently there are 4 Board of Trade members. They must be active in the session, as in moving around and doing stuff. That does not include Joe just being in the session. So if Joe's literally AFK and just stood there for the majority of the day, it does not mean, oh yes, Joe's in the session, we can do this. They have to be physically active so that they know what's going on. If they go AFK for like 20 minutes, that's not a problem. But for like Joe, am I right here, Joe? You're barely active. You're
Well,
like
of course, I simply put the account on, and
yes.
I have other things to do, of course.
Yes. So, for example, when Joe's on, but he's been AFK for like over hours, that does not count as an active Board of Trade member. An active Board of Trade member counts if they are currently doing something in the session, like they're monitoring the session and so on and so forth. Mods, we are still considering whether they will be counted to be involved, but currently that will be a no on the moderators. The creative permit works to give certain people will be given a digit number that will be registered in our system, whether it's active or inactive. If it's active, you will be just have to give the active Board of Trade member your digit number that you will be given with your receipt to basically tell you what's going on. And they'll tell you whether you're approved to build or not, and then they'll give you in the session the creative. The creative permits do have a time limit. They will have a time limit of 48 hours. Every creative permit you buy will have a 48-hour time limit. The time your permit can get extended, but it'll be a new hashtag number and so on and so forth. That is what's happening. The creative permit is 48 hours coherent. So once you join the first session and your hashtag number becomes active, it will go for 48 hours straight and then inactive. When you buy a secondary one for the same building, you will get discounted. It's not a rip-off where you're going, I've just paid for this one and I've barely done anything. You will get discounted on the second purchase and so on and so forth. Is there any more unclear that I need to clarify? No. Okay.
I think as a tax department, I will answer that question.
Okay.
It is of common known in the server that all players are to pay their taxes. This is done so we can pay our police, our military, and other public services, such as builders. The players, I do not know why they are enraged, but we have always had a tax system in place. Now, yes, we are going to do it more frequent. We are going to tax players more frequent in order to ensure that players remain active. We are not stealing money. We are taking a fair percentage of 10% at the moment. We may raise it, we may not, but currently we are taking a fair share of everyone's money. The poor or the rich are both affected just as badly. There is no discrimination to any social class in the system. We are taxing every single player so we can pay our police and our builders to help grow Koefdam.
On the statement of what I said earlier, that is not to do with your current balance in the server. I mean, like physical money, like the gold ingots with 100 Koefner. That money will, depending on when we announce it, so you might have time to gather it all up. But when we announce it, you'll have a certain date by to hand that money into the bank for us to then transfer it to your bank account. It's so that we know how much money you actually have. Because past that date, that money will become invalid. But that date is still to be decided. So it might come, it might never come. It's still to be considered. But I believe it will be likely. So if you want to gather your money ready for that time, do so. Because after that time, that money in-game that you currently have will be no longer valid. And only the Koefner on the Koefdam trading Discord will be the only thing valid in your money system. And of course.
Okay, this is a question from Lord Savior.
I believe Mr. Cornelius is not able to respond to a question at the moment. He is going to be told something in his ear, but probably very important news, I would expect.
Oh no.
Oh, he is back. Corrections.
Okay. So, what is what did your previous borders look like? And if there is a country which doesn't exist today, or the leader doesn't exist today, what will happen with that land?
Do you want me to answer the bit about the maps and stuff, or do you want to?
I think I should answer that question as host of Koefdam. He was also the host in July 2019. Good question. To show the people how the map of June 2019 looked like, we will look for the file uploaded in our Discord. It will be released tonight on our news channel, koefdam.com. For any nations which were owned by any leaders who have left or are no longer here, those maps are likely to be given to the Board of Trade if no other nation is able to make a valid claim on this land. So, if a nation is not able to claim that they owned it after the month of July, no proof, no proof of a transaction or no contract or no war that is signed by both parties, then we are going to have to give that land to the Board of Trade to which they can sell to other members who want to start a nation. However, this is only going to start during the nation update, which is going to happen in the near future. If the questions can please be more relevant to nowadays.
Okay, just thank you for your answer, and I'm not
So, is there any more questions or confusion with any sort of statements made? Any news?
Can E-News ask? Can E-News ask a question or?
Yeah.
Is
we
E-News?
like E-News. I'll take that as a yes. You may begin.
What will you say to the people that have maybe earned their money or have spent a lot of time earning their money, and even people that have spent real life money on this game, but then they just have to give it away? What would you say to them people that are outraged because that they have earned their money, put their life, put their time into this server, nearly people 5 years of earning that money, but now they just have to give it away? What will you say to them people?
I'd like to talk to them personally and address them that, first of all, in the Dutch Book of Laws, you can check it up right now on Koefdam. If you go to Roleplay Laws, there is an article stating that all players used to pay 15% of their tax in a period of every 3 months. This tax system is not new, people. It is not new. It is, however, being enforced for the first time in the past 6 months. I want to remind the players that have been on here longer than 6 months that they are aware that we have a tax system. Now, the Board of Trade is indeed new, but they are only used for companies and players willing to buy resources. It's just like it used to be, but now we are going to enforce it much stricter in order to obtain a good roleplay. So, to the people who claim that they have spent money, but they have lost it because we are unfairly taking it away, please look at the rules you have signed up to more than 6 months ago, because you will see that we still had a tax system. This is not coming out of nowhere. We did not make this rule up because of some random idea. These rules have been set for months. It is, however, now the time to enforce the rules.
Okay, so
Final question.
So on the point of the money being stolen from you, that's a point as well that Joe just made. But the point, you're responding to the creative permits and such, which I'm not sure, the creative permits aren't stealing your money. It's making it fairer, so that everyone isn't just getting a free building. They are actually earning the money to then spend in an investment. Every building people buy in real life is an investment. Whether you think it's not an investment, but it is. Houses go up and down in price. When you get a creative permit, you've got a set price for the building size. Then once you do it, you can sell it for more than what you paid for. It's an investment. It's not just about owning a property. It's an investment that you can either lose out on or make profit on. That's how it works in real life. That's why houses go up and down in value. That's what the creative permit does. It gives that opportunity for people to experience. Okay.
The final question.
Command News, E-News, anyone?
I've just got one more, maybe. Not nothing bad or anything, but when do you think another press conference will, when do you think another press conference like this will happen? In, I don't know, 5, 6 months again? or even maybe a year? When do you think another press conference may be happening?
We are unable to state that. Nobody can predict the future. If there is any new news or any updates, we will be sure to update the news channels about this.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No comment. Okay. I've just got a personal question for myself. Now I'm the one answering questions. Joe?
Alright, I think that's all we have to do tonight. Have a nice day, I said. Good luck.
Joe, can we go into a meeting after this? Quickly.
Joe, are you gonna restart the game?
I'm taking Joe. Joe, come with me. You're coming with me.
Hold on, madams. Thank you to everyone.
Commander, include me in the meeting.
Yeah.
I love the
Joe, I
noobs.
wanna speak to you later.
I love the